99% of personal brand fail to make any impact. And it is not because of a lack of effort, but because they lack key things, one of which is a brand strategy. This is Wilson at Covy, and in this video we'll be exploring brand strategy as the first step towards creating a successful personal brand. At the end of this video, you will know precisely all the core elements of a brand strategy you need to put in place before launching your personal brand. Do well to stick to the end of this video because my team and I have created the system that will help you create an amazing brand strategy for your personal brand. I'll be talking more about that at the end of the video. The importance of personal branding today cannot be overemphasized. The question is no longer should you as a professional, a consultant, or a founder have a professional brand. According to research, 60% of consumers say they rather buy from a company with a CEO that has a personal brand. And according to Weber, more than 40% of the market value of a company is attributed to the personal brand of the CEO. So the question you should be asking is, what is the right way to build a personal brand? And the first step towards building a professional brand that works is by creating a brand strategy. So, what is a brand strategy? Steven from the Brand Master Academy defines brand strategy as a long-term plan for what you will build your reputation on, how, and the method in which you would achieve this. I define brand strategy as the answer to 4 core questions. 1. Who are you? 2. What solution do you offer? 3. Who are your target audience? And 4. How do you intend to achieve this? But why exactly do you need a brand strategy before you launch your personal brand? Seeing as today you can get a logo in about 10 seconds using any app. You could also hire a freelancer to help you build a website or a landing page. In fact, you can whip out your phone and begin recording yourself talking about the solution you have to offer. Well, here is the fact. Your personal brand is not your logo. It's not your color. It is not how crispy your videos are. And it is certainly not your landing page. Indeed, all of these are a part of your personal brand, but most fall within the context of what we call your visual identity. Simply meaning they are means by which your target audience can identify you. But after they identify you, what else? In fact, the impact of each of these things is determined by how strong your brand strategy is. So what is a personal brand? A personal brand is a promise made by an entity to a target audience, the authority upon which makes that promise and how it goes about to fulfill that promise. The second phase of a personal brand is how the target audience perceives that entity based on how he presents himself and his fulfillment of the promises he has made. Consumers are much more smarter, and the wrong perception of your brand you might not be able to recover from it. To illustrate, one of the most successful brands today is Gary Vee. The first time I encountered Gary Vee was through a video he posted on Instagram. The message passed from that video impacted me positively. It literally changed my perspective on key areas of my life. Over time, the more I consumed more of Gary Vee's content, the more I noticed a consistency in his messaging. Gary Vee is the same person on Twitter as he is on LinkedIn and also on TikTok. His messaging is consistent, his voicing consistent. It would seem as though Gary Vee is engineered. Every single thing about him is deliberately orchestrated to pass a specific message. And the more I encounter this consistency, the more I trust him, which is why I can buy any of his books, his course, or register for any of his seminars. This is the power of personal brand built on the right strategy. Now, let's take a look at the core elements of a brand strategy. Who are you? The answers we provide here will make up your core identity. Your core identity is a well-defined, deliberately chiseled mental imagery you have created for your brand. It is everything you want your audience to think about you. Your core identity includes your story, which is the why for your brand. It explains what motivates you. Your core identity is the driving force between you and your target audience. This is what binds them to you. It also includes the principles and values of your brand. Summarily, it is the ethos of your brand. Are you a conservative? Are you liberal? Are you adventurous? Are you a rebel like Gary Vee, who sometimes curses in some of his videos? The answers to these are all elements of your core identity. Other aspects of your core identity includes your mission, your vision, and your objectives. What do you offer? The answer to this makes up your core offering. Your core offering is the solution your personal brand offers its target audience. These are primarily the basis of transaction between you and your target audience. Your core offer defines the problem you solve for your target audience. Do you present the solutions as a product or a service, or maybe even both? How do you present them? How do you intend to price your offering? Also, what makes your offering different from what is already in the market? The answer to this specific question is your value proposition, which is all a part of your core offering. Key to your core offer is your knowledge of your industry, but specifically your expertise. Your expertise is simply what you are expert at. This defines the niche within which you operate. Next, who are your target audience? Every successful brand has its personal target audience, and it is your job to explicitly define who your target audience is. Your definition must be clear and very specific. When it comes to defining your target audience, you need to research. A definition of your target audience must be data-backed. You must be able to define their characteristics in terms of age, location, their earning capacity, what they are capable of spending. One trait that is more important than most is their location. Now, you're building your personal brand online. You need to know exactly where your target audience are online. What social media platforms are they saturated at? The more questions you ask, the better you'll be able to get exactly where most of your target audience are. This information will aid you in reaching out to them. The last question is, how do you intend to achieve your goal? The answer to this question is your brand execution. Now armed with a knowledge of your core identity, your core offer, and who your target audience is, the next step is, how do you launch your personal brand? In other words, your brand execution is everything you have to put in place to achieve your goals. Your core identity will inform your visual identity, which is how you will be presenting yourself and your solution to your target audience. The product or the services we will be offering will determine the platforms upon which you would launch. The knowledge of the target audience, and more precisely their location, will also determine the social media platforms which you would build your personal brand on. How do you intend to get paid? How do you intend to track your target audience journey? What techniques would you use to gather information from your target audience? How do you intend to follow up? The questions are vast. However, the more questions like this you are able to answer, the better it will be for you to execute your personal brand. Another important aspect of brand execution is your content creation and content management. You can plan all of this even before you post your first video or write your first article. I guess by now you can begin to see why having a brand strategy is important. Now let's talk about the system my team and I have created. We have come up with a document that has a comprehensive list of all the questions you need to ask before you can launch your personal brand. These questions make up the 4 core elements of your brand strategy. If this is something you are interested in, click the link in the description of this video and we will send it over to you via your mail. All you have to do is fill it up and there you have it, your brand strategy. But if you need us to work with you to actually come up with your brand strategy, send us an email. You can also contact us through several means. Check out the links in the description of this video. Bye.